Hi, this is Lady Shell. I am here to do my final class character creation, and that is for the class of Warlock. Now let's get this empty. Let me put in my standard array. Okay. And let me grab a blank character sheet. Now, the first thing that you want to do is you want to roll your abilities. Now, we are not going to actually roll them. We are going to use the standard array, which is 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. And you can put them in any order that you like in any of these 6 positions on your sheet. Now, I'm making a Warlock, and a Warlock's primary ability is Charisma. So we're going to put our 15 down in Charisma. We're going to put our 14 in Con, 13 in Dex, 12 in Intelligence, 10 in Wisdom, and 8 in Strength. Next, we're going to do our background, which is the next step in the process. Now I'm going to scoot that over there. And oh, I forgot that I unloaded all the stuff that I had because I was looking at the D&D Essentials when I did my review. Let me close these down. Now let me open up Player's Handbook. Let's open Mordenkainen's. Let's open Sword Coast. I don't think I'm going to make a turtle, so I don't need to open the turtle. How about Volos? And Xanathars. That should be enough for now. And close this. Now, the background that I want to use comes from the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, and that is the Cloistered Scholar. So I drag this over to the background section, and I'm going to close the background, and it says I can choose one skill from the list below in which you want your character to be proficient in. Now, you could see what you're proficient in by clicking on the Skills tab and looking down the list, and you see that the only thing that has a gold star is History. So if History was on this list, we would not want to choose it. We're going to pick Arcana. Okay, back to the main page. We are going to choose our race. And I am going to choose oh, did I not open the right one? I need to open up the correct version of Mordenkainen's. Oh, I guess I didn't open it to begin with. It's this one. Okay. The reason that I want that open is because I want to take the elf from Mordenkainen's because I want to use the subclass that's available in this book. Now I'm going to choose elf as my race. It's going to ask me to choose a sub-race. My sub-race that I would like to choose is the Eladrin. And I click the little bubble, and I'm going to click the check mark. Now it gave me the Eladrin sub-race. The final thing on this first page is going to be the class, which I've already told you is a Warlock. So we're going to use Player's Handbook, Warlock. And remember that whenever you pick your class, the book that you choose it from is the book that you should always advance your levels from. If I was going to pull from the class list when I leveled to level 2 and above, then I would want to take the same version of Warlock, which would mean do not take it from Xanathar or Sword Coast. Take it from the Player's Handbook, which is what I took it from to begin with. Okay, now it says I have 2 skills that I can be proficient in. Again, I'm going to look at my skills tab and see that I have Arcana, History, and Perception as chosen. I'm going to take Deception and Investigation. And now I have to choose my patron. Now, since I'm an elf, I am going to choose the Archfey for my patron. So I click the bubble and I choose the check mark and I have my patron. I'm going to go back to my first page because I want to level up. But let's give our Warlock a name. Let's call him Homer. No, not Homer Simpson. Okay, now we're going to level. And to level, you do not just type 3 in this box. You're going to take the shield and drag it off of the tab and back on. And you'll see it leveled to 2, off and back on. In some classes, you will get some prompts that will ask you to pick additional skills, but we don't have that. So we have our final abilities of 8, 15, 14, 12, 10, and 16. So 16 is really nice. I get a +3 bonus to my spellcasting ability. The third tab is our abilities tab. Now, the reason that I've taken so long to get to Warlock is because Warlocks have a very different way of doing spells. They have Eldritch Invocations, and they have an expanded spell list depending on which patron you choose. And they have, let's see, Fey Presence is, that's something I'm going to need later. I'll keep that open. Library Access is just a role-playing feature. Pact Boon, I'm going to need that because I'm going to have to choose my pact. You are allowed to choose either the Pact of the Chain, the Pact of the Blade, or the Pact of the Tome. I think I'm going to choose the Pact of the Chain. And so where it says Pact Boon down here, I'm going to make a reference to Pact of the Chain. And for Pact Magic, it talks about you have 2 cantrips. You start with 2 cantrips. At first level, you get 2 first level spells. Okay. Don't think I need to keep this open, but I do need to look at my, wait, was that what I just closed? I think it was. Okay, I need to open the class because I want to see how many spells I'm allowed. I believe it's 6? Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, 3rd level. I know 4 spells. I can cast at 1st or 2nd. Well, I can cast 1st level spells and 2nd level spells, but you cast everything at 2nd level. And you do this until you reach level 5. Then you start casting everything at 3rd level. Now, it's a little different than a regular spellcaster where when you increase your spells that you use more spell slots, and it's different with Warlock. You only have 2 spell slots. And you don't get any additional spell slots until level 11. But what's good about a Warlock is they can regenerate their spell slots on a short rest. So it kind of makes up for it. Okay, so I already found out that I can know up to 4 spells. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 2 from 1st level and 2 from 2nd level. Then I'm also going to pick 2 cantrips. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2 cantrips. And then 2 invocations. So I'm going to stick this down here in case I need to reference it again. And I'm also going to have the background of Cloistered Scholar down here because I'm going to want to need it. I am going to need it later on. Okay, and now we looked at Pact Magic. Archfey just says that's who I have as my patron. Talks about the spell list and the Fey presence and all that stuff. Okay, now down here in traits, you can get Fey ancestry because I'm an elf. This is a racial feature. I'll get Fey Step, which is similar to Misty Step. And you can teleport up to 30 feet. It's just like Misty Step. It's just called Fey Step. But because I'm an Eladrin, I have to choose which type of Eladrin I am. They are by seasons. There's winter, spring, summer, and fall, or autumn. And I kind of like the summer the best. And I'm going to put under Fey Step, I'm going to say I am a summer Eladrin. How do you spell Eladrin? R-I-N. Okay. Oops. Okay, now the reason I picked summer was because it says that when you use your Fey Step trait, which you can use once per long rest, or short rest actually, short or long rest, depending on which season you are, you get a different effect. Now, the summer effect allows you to, anyone that's within 5 feet of you, an opponent that's within 5 feet of you, will take fire damage equal to your charisma modifier. My charisma modifier was 3. So, I mean, hey, it may be only 3, but it's 3 fire damage that they didn't have on them before, right? So, all I have to do is do this like Misty Step and get into 30 feet away from where I am. And then the people within 5 feet of me that are opponents of mine will take fire damage. So that's cool. That's why I picked summer. I have, excuse me, I have light armor and simple weapons. And we speak Common, Elvish, and 2 other languages. I'm going to take Sylvan. And I'm going to take Gnomish. Okay, so there is our choices. And we're going to go on to our inventory. I'm going to use a mod that I didn't load. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to grab some of these Rabtui modules. I'm going to get his background and class equipment bundles, which is what I'm going to use now, I'm going to get his class features effects coding, or excuse me, let me take the 5e effects coding class features, and I'm going to take the race traits and the spells. Those are the 5 or 4 that I need. So I could close this down, I could close this down, and now you'll see on here, if I load the background and class equipment bundles, the parcels in here are going to help me get my inventory for my character. Now what you do is you look for the background that you chose, which I chose Cloistered Scholar, and you drag it over into your inventory tab. Scroll all the way down, find your class, mine is Warlock, drag that over. And there are a few things that they forgot to provide, so I'm going to have to go into items and choose them manually. One of them is a case for my crossbow bolts. And do I have rations? I do not, so I'm going to get myself some rations. And I'm going to choose 10 of them. I'm going to change the 1 to 10. And do we have any light source? We do not. So I'm going to choose some torches. And again, I'm going to choose 10. And do we have a water kit? No, we do not have a water skin. So, and the final thing that I want to do is grab a healing potion. And the reason that I get this is not really part of a standard starting equipment. I want to show you how to make a healing potion functional in your Actions tab. Okay, so we are finished with the inventory. Oh no, we are not finished with the inventory. I want to show you how to make your inventory all nice and neat. Because we're going to take our backpack and we're going to put all the items in our backpack. To do that, first we get rid of this word empty, all the way back to the K. And then everything that we want in our backpack on this column, in this column, we're going to put the capital B, so that it calls for a backpack. And only the things that go in the backpack are going to have this reference. Knife, parchment, potion of healing, the rations, the robes, the torches, the water skin, and the writing kit. And you saw me get the case for the crossbow bolt, and we're going to put our crossbow bolts in the case. So we're going to type case here. Okay, so you will see now that it made all my items that were in the backpack all indented and nice and neat. And then the bolts are underneath the case. So that is how that works. The next tab is my notes tab. Now if this were a character that I would be using in a campaign, then I would want to make sure to have a gender, age, height, weight, alignment, and deity. But since it isn't, I'm just going to show you how to put use the random tables that are on your background, which that's why I'm opening up Cloistered Scholar again. Whichever background that you chose, open that again, and at the very bottom you will see these tables. So you can do your background or your personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws like I am doing with just taking and rolling randomly and putting whatever comes up. Or you could look through the list here and grab any one of these. And to grab them, you would just left click on the text and drag it into the correct spot of your inventory. I'm going to do the same thing by left clicking on the text in the chat window and dragging it up to where personality traits are displayed. Actually, you know what? I just remembered something. Because I'm an Eladrin, I have a special personality trait that comes from Eladrin. So I need to open up the race again and the elf from Mordenkainen, and then grab the subrace of Eladrin. And let's close the rest of this down so it's not confusing. Now this is going to be, I'm going to look for summer because that is what I chose. There's the pictures. Here's autumn, winter, spring, summer. So here's my personality trait. Is going to be one of these. And then I have a flaw. Now the other two positions I could grab from here, the ideal and the bond. Now, again, if you were using this in a campaign, you would probably want to write in here what your character looks like. And then down in notes, you would want to write your backstory, where you came from, why you took up adventuring, whatever you want. The next tab is called the log. And this is for if you did Adventure League games. You would have your GCI number and your faction. Down here where it says adventures, you would just write all the things that happened to you in your game that you played. So we're going to open up our final tab. This is the one that I usually screw up at because it has all the spells. And I've got to remember everything. So we need to first make some headers, and these are called powers. And when you type the name in the power and then you put the cursor in a different box, it will put the name that you put at the top of the list. And to get a new header, you just add a power. We're going to make one for our Eldritch Invocations. We're going to make one for our Archfey spell list. We're going to make one for our Pact Boon. Which is just Path of the Chain, which means this is where I'm going to put this spell, Find Familiar, in here, but not right now. And then the final thing, let's see, we need to have some standard actions. And we need to have some racial traits, because we've got this Fey ancestry, which is a racial trait. And again, to make it go to change to the top to be for the header, you just click in another area of the sheet. Okay, another thing that I need to do is I need to put ammo for my crossbow. I have to put 20 crossbow bolts. You type 20 and it gives me all these little bubbles to fill in. I have 2 daggers. I'm going to type the number 2 in here. And you can see that it's showing me that I can use the dagger as a melee weapon or as a thrown weapon. Then my quarterstaff is a bludgeoning melee weapon, which that's what the sword is for. But we want to make an additional quarterstaff because this is a single-handed quarterstaff. If we want to wield it double, with both hands, holding it with both hands, we're going to make a two-handed version. And to do that, we're going to go down here, and instead of clicking the power button, we're going to click the add weapon. Now you can see that it made a space up here for a new weapon. We are going to copy the information from the single-handed quarterstaff. And what I did was I opened up the little magnifying glass down here. I'm going to do the same up here on my new weapon. I'm going to type quarterstaff two-handed. And then I'm going to type this versatile 1d8 in this box. I'm going to leave it at base. And down here, this had a d6. When you wield it two-handed, you get to have a d8 for your damage. So 4, 6, 8. Grab my d8. I left-clicked to grab it, and now I just let it go, and it goes in here. The damage type is still bludgeoning, so it goes here. Oh, come on. There, bludgeoning. Okay, so now our weapons are made. I have a two-handed quarterstaff and a single-handed quarterstaff. But if you notice here, there's a little sack. And that says my quarterstaff is carried. I want it to be equipped. And I forgot to show you that on the inventory page. There is this whole column of item icons. And if the sack is displayed, that means it's carried. And if the shirt is displayed, that means it is equipped. All your weapons and all your armor and your shields, if you had shields, should all have the shirt symbol after them so that it will register as equipped. So we have our arrows, our crossbow bolts on here. We have our two daggers. We have our two-handed quarterstaff and single-handed quarterstaff. And we are ready to enter some information down here. Now again, I'm going to use another one of Rob Tui's modules. I'm going to open up his spell coding spells. And I'm going to type the word action. Wait a minute. I grabbed the spells. Sorry. I want class features. And when you type the word action, you'll get the actions that you're going to drag into this area here. I'm going to drag in dodge and help and hide and ready. Now this top spot doesn't have anything in it, so I can delete it. So I turned on the edit, and I'm going to double click on this little red circle with the dash, with the slash in it, and it says confirm delete. Now turn it back off, and I'm going to click on these little magnifying glasses so that we have a single line for each item and it doesn't take so much of your sheet. Okay, so there's our class effects. And get rid of that word. And because it's a class thing, let's look up Warlock. This should give us information regarding our Warlock, the things that we can get, like the Fey Presence right here. See the Fey Presence up here? It said that you can cause them to have to make a wisdom saving throw, or they could be scared of you. And this is a class feature. It goes in, did I put it in? It's a class feature. I think I'm going to change Pact Boon to class features. But we'll put the Pact Boon information in here. So class features is now going to have this Fey presence. And what else do we have? Anything? All this other things that are on this list are all for higher level character. So it's Fey presence goes on here. I'm done with it. I can close it. And what else do I need? I need to put this Find Familiar because this is a class feature also that I get for Pact of the Boon. So I'm going to now go, instead of class features, I'm going to go look at spells. And I'm going to take it off of Warlock for now. And I'm going to type in Find. And I want to get this Find Familiar, and it's going to go in the same the class features section. Now let's do Edit, and we're going to delete this empty one. And you see that this is called class features, but these are spells. Because they're spells, they can rely on your spell casting ability. And now I clicked on the magnifying glass that was part of this header to get this to pop up. And you see where it says ability and there's just a dash. We want this to say charisma so that it is calling upon your charisma modifier for any spells that you may have in this section that may need that for like this DC 13. It calculated this based on my modifier. The Find Familiar doesn't have that, but anytime that you have a power section like this that has something in it that would be a spell that would rely on your spell casting ability, you need to make sure that the header is set to your spell casting ability. Okay, so this is spells. So let's continue with spells. Did we do Face Step? We did not. Face Step was a class feature, wasn't it? I think I messed up. Did I do Fey? No, I did Fey Presence. What about Fey Step? I guess that's under spells. No, that's Conjure Fey. Okay. Perhaps that is something that is not... You know it is. It is not codable because even when you have Misty Step, it's not codable. It's just a word that would go there. So we could actually do this. We can actually do this. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to add a line here. I'm going to say Fey Step, or actually, you know what? I'm just going to drag this over. Fey Step. Now, Fey Step Eladrin, and when you open up, no, why did it open a new stupid thing? That is not what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to put it in here. Sometimes this is really a pain, like it keeps doing. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to type Fey Step. And I'm going to, for this, I am going to type this information. We are Summer Eladrin. I'm going to type, we're going to open that up. I'm going to type this little summer part. I'm going to put it down here so that when you look up Fey Step, you can see what happens when you do your Fey Step. because of your summer ability. So we close that down. And we are set. Okay, now let's do racial traits. And we will look for this Fey ancestry. We're an elf. We are an Eladrin, but Eladrin are part of an elf. So we're going to look up first elf and see what we have. We have Fey ancestry. Now let's look for our header that says racial traits. There it is. Fey ancestry. Do we have anything that's under Eladrin? There's our Fey step. Okay. Fey step is a race trait, so I was incorrect in putting that there. I'm going to close that down. I already did that. I'm going to put Fey step down here. Okay, so you can see that it added it down here. And we're done with that. We take it off of that source. And we want to close that. No, we don't want to close it. We want to delete the extra one. Then we want to close it, so we don't delete something accidentally. Now remember what I told you. When you have something that is not specifically a spell category, you want to make sure that this says Charisma, which it doesn't. So watch this Wisdom DC 13 when we change it to Charisma. Oh, it didn't change. I figured it would change. It must not be affected by this. Anyway, that's important to do for spells that are within a category that is not a specifically spell-based. Okay, so now we have to do our expanded spell list. So we're going to go over here again to spells. And remember that I had that one where it said that I got, did I put that in? Oh yeah, I put Find Familiar. I forgot that last time. That's why I'm thinking about it. Now for our expanded spell list for Archfey, we're going to put all the spells up here. So I'm going to type in the first level and the second level and the third level. So 6 spells will go in this space. We'll start with Fairy Fire. We're going to do Sleep. We're going to do Calm Emotions. Going to do Phantasmal Force. Blink. And Plant Growth. Okay, now I'm going to open the edit up and I'm going to delete the extra space. Close it and click on all my magnifying glasses so that it reduces it down to a single spot where necessary. I mean where it is applicable. Okay, there's our Archfey. We've got our class features. Let's do our consumables. Consumables are water skin. I'm going to have to make additional things here. I'm going to have to make for torches. I have rations and parchment and the healing potion. Whoops. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to do functionality on your healing potion. This is so when you have it in your inventory and you want to heal someone, yourself or someone else, you will be able to drag it onto that person or onto their token on the map and be able to do a heal on them. Now to do that right now, you wouldn't not have anything. It tells you it's a healing potion. It doesn't have any information in here. To give it information, we're going to right click where it says healing potions. We're going to click this arrow that says add action. We're going to click on the plus that says add heal, and you see it opens up a second line. And there's a little magnifying glass that's a little hard to see at the end of this line. When you click that, you're able to tell it how much that the healing potion will do. Now I know that a healing potion does 2d4 plus 2. That means I'm going to have to pick up, left click on my 4-sided dice, drag it up here, and while I'm still holding the left mouse button down, I'm going to click on the right mouse button to make a second die. There we have 2d4, and over where it says bonus here, I'm going to type number 2, and our spell is coded. So when you try and heal, you would drag it on the person and it would do the heal like so. And it would deduct from your consumables. Now we need to tell it how much of each thing that we have. Some of these things have these are daily, but so that means it resets on daily, which is correct. No, you know what? That's not correct. Your all of your spells should reset on your short rest. So I'm going to change everything to rest. Find familiar. Healing potion. All of your consumables are set to once. So double click to set them to once. Now we have to tell how many we have. We have 1 healing potion. We have 10 parchment. We have 10 rations. We have 10 torches and 1 water skin. So when you click this again, it'll go to combat and it'll bring up the little dots or circles, bubbles, and it shows you how many you have. And when you use them, you would check them off. It does not take it out of your inventory. This is just a way of telling your, keeping track for yourself. So we have our healing potions. Now we need to add our Eldritch invocations because we haven't picked them yet. I'm going to open this up. And I would like to pick this Agonizing Blast. This is based on the Eldritch Blast cantrip. So I'm going to type 0. I'm going to do source for Warlock. We're going to get Eldritch Blast. And we're putting it in our Eldritch invocations. And we are going to, that's one, it's called, instead of Eldritch Blast, it's called Agonizing Blast. So I'm going to rename it to Agonizing Blast. And again, I need to change this to Charisma. And down here, I'm going to need to change this because the Agonizing Blast adds your Charisma modifier to the damage. So down here under damage, we're going to add, I believe it's 3. Let me look, make sure. My Charisma modifier is 3. So down here in bonus, I'm going to add 3. So every time I do this Agonizing Blast, it's going to do 1d10 plus 3 force damage. So that is one Eldritch Invocation. What other Eldritch Invocation? Let's take the, if you look at these, they have prerequisites. Now, it said that we needed to take the Eldritch Blast cantrip, which is fine. Pact of the Chain. What is this? You can cast hold monster at will, targeting a celestial fiend or elemental without expending a spell slot or material components. You must finish a long rest before you can use this invocation on the same creature again. Okay. That seems a little... Can't figure that out. I'm not sure if hold monster would work as far as dragging the code over, because it's going to give you the normal hold monster, and this hold monster lets you do it at will. So I'm not really sure how to code that. So instead, I'm going to take this Armor of Shadows, which is based on Mage Armor. And let me see. I don't know if Warlocks get Mage Armor, do they? No, they do not. So I'm going to take it off of Warlock, because this is based on Mage Armor. So I drag the Mage Armor over into my invocations and close that. And we're going to rename it Armor of Shadows. And what does it say? It says that you can cast it on yourself at will without expending a spell slot or material components. So all you have to do is remember that it doesn't take a spell slot to cast this. So we will close that. And we have picked our 2 invocations. Okay, now we have to pick our normal Warlock spells. Remember, I get 2 cantrips and I get 4 spells, and they are cast at 2nd level. So now we're going to keep it on spells, but again, I'm going to bring the source back to Warlock. And we're going to change the level to 0 because I need to check do my cantrips. Now, if you recall, it said that I needed to use Eldritch Blast as my spell. So I'm going to have to take that as a spell. And the Mage Armor was, it's not a, it wouldn't be in the spell list. Our second spell for my cantrip is going to be thought I got Ray of Frost, but apparently I must be thinking of Sorcerer. I'll take Frostbite. So I'll take over drag over Frostbite. Now let me go down to my cantrips. And there we go. Those are our cantrips. Okay, now I want 2 first levels. I'm going to take Witch Bolt and can I take Hex? No, this is, well, oh yeah, I could do this. I'm sorry, I was reading something and I guess I will take Hex for my second. Second spell. So I'm going to have Witch Bolt and Hex. Now, if you recall, I said that all the spells have to be cast at second level. That means that the Hex, which there is no increase on second level, only when it gets to third, so there's no change in this. But the Witch Bolt might. I believe it does. So I'm going to open that up. And the Witch Bolt is 1d12 lightning. And if I recall correctly, I believe you get an extra d12 if you cast it at second level. Yes, 1d12. So I'm going to open up the magnifying glass where it has the damage, and I'm going to add an additional d12. Wait a minute, I added the wrong thing. Witch Bolt is d12. Yeah, I did. I added a d10. Let's start over again. We want to add 2 d12s. Oh, wait. 4, 6, 8, 10. It's my fault. I grabbed the wrong die. 2 d12. So you get 2 d12. Nope, those are d10s. I did grab the wrong ones again. 2 d12, right? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Witch Bolt. 2 d12. Yeah. Let's drag the right die this time. Okay, let's fix my dice. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2 d12. It says you do 2 d12. Yeah. Okay. So we will close that. And we will close that. And we will close that. So these are my first level spells. Now let's pick 2 second level spells. I'm going to choose Darkness and Shatter. Okay, so there's my second level spells. I'm going to close them down so they're only taking 1 space. And I believe we are finished with our character. We have our standard actions. We have our cantrips, first and second level spells. We have our racial traits. We have our eldritch invocations. Oh, we got 2 of those. Okay, there's no problem there. We have our consumables. We have our 2 spells that were part of the Pact Boon, the Fey Presence and the Find Familiar. And we have our Archfey additional spell list. Now, these do not count against my saying that I only know 4 spells, because I know 4 spells, but I also know these spells. These don't count against that. But I still only have 2 spots. These still will take a spot. So there is no, using them for free or something. So, Homer, I think you're ready to go. You are level 3 Warlock, Eladrin, Summer Eladrin. And you have all your stuff as far as I can tell. I hope that this video was helpful to you. And that if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section underneath this video. I will include the information on which books I use to create this character in case you wish to make this character for yourself. And I thank you for watching. Bye-bye.